This is the Independence Blue Cross Bowl Session, presented by SEPTA, a weekly recap of your 2024 Phillies, broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's. Tonight's show is brought to you by Team Toyota, BCWSA, The Capitol Grill, Independence Blue Cross, and SEPTA. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Did you say Mickey Morandini? Yes, he's here. Number 12 is here. Hi, everybody. We're at Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown, New Jersey. And it's good to see so many fans here tonight. It's good to see the Deckies here tonight. And thank goodness I had Steve Decky with me. He was giving me all kinds of history on Terry Harmon.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my goodness. Where do you hear what I got to tell you?
All good.
I don't know the guy.
But listen, you know, I take opportunity of this first minute or two on the air to talk about these wonderful guests that we're lucky enough to have and co-host. My co-host tonight is a 1995 National League All-Star. He played 9 of his 11 Major League seasons, 1990 through 2000, with the Phillies, and of course was a member of the 1993 Philadelphia Phillies National League champions. He ranks 4th in Phillies history in games played at second base and was the recipient of the Paul Owens Award in 1989 as the best player in the Phillies minor league system. He was originally selected by the Phillies in the 5th round of the June 1988 draft out of Indiana University, Bloomington. As an amateur, he won a gold medal as a member of the 1988 United States Olympic baseball team. Born in Leechburg, Pennsylvania, Mickey and his wife Peg currently live in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. They have 3 sons, Jordan, Griffin, and Braden. Ladies and gentlemen, Phillies second baseman number 12, Mickey Morandini.
Hey.
And we have a wonderful guest. Before we get to our wonderful guest introduction, Ellen Foreman, would you come up here for just a moment and slide in between Mickey and Terry? Mickey, come on. Ellen, can you get over here?
How are you, kiddo?
Come
Come over this way.
Can you get over there? Now, this is Ellen Foreman, who has just the nicest man in the world for a husband. Jack Foreman is right out here. Now, Ellen is our official photographer. She takes pictures of all of our guests and some of this wonderful audience. Every year, she and Jack come to all the shows. And Mickey Morandini, Ellen has a present for you.
What do you got?
This is a photo book. I'm going to hold it up if we can.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the book of the Bull Session, named for the great Greg Luzinski. This is our radio show. And this is the 2023 WBCB Radio Bull Session. Can you see it, Chris? And can you see Ellen? There you go.
No, we can't.
And I know that your husband's taking photos right now of this, isn't he?
So this has all the photos from 2023?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You're
Thank
in
you.
there so many times.
That's awesome.
You might be getting royalties. No,
Well, thank you very much. That's very sweet of you.
Thank you, Ellen Foreman, and thank you, Jack Foreman. We appreciate you guys so much. And, the Steinbachers couldn't be here tonight, but Mike Flaherty, Mark Weissner are here, and some of our other dear friends. Not everyone I know by name, and I apologize for that. But now, on to Mickey's and my guest. Like Mickey Morandini, a second baseman. He wore number 17. Shout out if you know some other Phillies who've worn 17. Let me hear. I don't know if they can hear me. Scott Rowland is one. Thank you, Chris Ermer. Steve Decky, give me another 17. Did you say Reese Hoskins? You're right. Yes.
I forgot about
yes,
Reese.
Yes. Yeah. And Doug Clemens was one of our previous guests, was number 17. But on the way up today, my wonderful wife, Kathy, boy, am I lucky. She's helped keep me alive, not, from a health standpoint, but, oh, my goodness. Best thing that ever happened to me in my life, and there she is.
She said the same thing. Best thing that ever happened to her.
Oh, I don't know if she said that.
Yeah,
but,
she did.
Yeah, but I love her. And Steve is here with his wonderful wife, Jean. Jean takes me back and forth to most of the Phillies games because I can't drive myself after all the surgeries and diminishing vision in my right eye. And Kay Harmon's over there, too. Talk
sure
about
is.
good-looking women. Kathy, Jean, Kay. That Steve Decky better be careful over there tonight, I'm telling you.
We'll keep our eye on him.
Oh, okay. What I wanted to tell you, so Steve and I are sitting in the back of the car. Jean is kind enough to drive. By the way, she's also president of the Phillies Stadium Employees Union.
Whoa.
Yes. And if you want a job as an usher, I can help you.
I got an
or
in
she
now.
can help you.
I got an in now.
Anyway, Terry Harmon played 10 years in the major leagues, all with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Nobody else would have me.
You know what? Mark Weissner and Mike Flaherty know there's only about 6 or 7 people that can make that claim to have played at least 10 years with the Phillies, or maybe it's 5 years, and all in Phillies pinstripes.
There you go.
Very few.
Very lucky.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you, Mark, to tell me, or Mike Schmidt, Ryan Howard, Bob Miller, Terry Harmon, who else? Larry Christensen. Larry will be with us June the 10th. How could I forget LC? Well, anyway, on April 12th, talking about celebrating birthdays, Terry Harmon hit the big 8-0.
8-0.
Wow.
Happy to be alive, brother. Happy to be
Oh,
alive.
we're
Looking
happy.
good for 8-0.
You're more than that. He's in really good shape. And,
A lot of stuff breaking down internally.
we were so Steve Decky's telling me all this Terry Harmon minutia, Mickey, on the way up. He said, do you know that Terry Harmon is in the Baseball Hall of Fame? His glove is in there. He said, do you know why? I said, yes. Because he had the most assists in one game in baseball history for a second baseman.
I didn't even know that.
See?
How many?
You learned something. 18, huh?
18?
18.
Holy cow, who was pitching?
Jim Bunning.
Jim Bunning.
He was twirling that slow curveball up there, and they were beating it into the ground.
That's awesome.
Hey, Steve Decky, how many assists did Terry Harmon have in the 9th inning of that game in which he had 18 overall.
It was one of those things that how you make the last three outs.
Well,
and they say, you tied another record.
Right.
I'm thinking, what are they talking about? I get into the locker room, writers everywhere. What happened?
Right.
I had no idea, and I was involved with 18 putouts.
Wow.
And it broke a record from like 1700s or something like that.
Did you have to ice your arm after that game?
No, it was all simple. Any second baseman could have done it. I was just a lucky one to be out there.
Talk about defensive accomplishments as a second baseman.
Yeah.
This one, an unassisted triple play.
Right place at the right time, brother.
That's right.
Mickey, how many times did you say that in baseball history, is it 2 that a second baseman's done it?
I was the first to do it in the regular season. I think there's been maybe 2 or 3, but Bruntlett did it for the
Eric
Phillies.
Bruntlett.
And someone had done
Yeah.
it in a playoff game before me. I don't know if there's been any other second baseman, to be honest with you.
Eric Bruntlett came to the Phillies from Houston. Next week's guest that you and I will be having at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Pennsylvania, is going to be Mike Costanzo. And Mike and Eric Bruntlett. No, I'm sorry. We got Brad Lidge and Eric Bruntlett from Houston for Mike Costanzo, Jeff Geary, and Michael Bourne.
Michael Bourne, yep.
And, there's so much history. Mike is originally from this area. He'll be with us next week. We'll be at Audubon. But tonight we're lucky enough to have Terry Harmon. Terry, your most proud accomplishment as a Philly? The 18 assist game?
Maybe. The thing I remember most, first AB against Fergie Jenkins in Chicago. I had already been sent down in Clearwater, and they called me up and said, "You're joining the team tomorrow. Pack your bags. You're leaving tonight." I got into Chicago at 6:30 in the morning. Had all my stuff, and I'm sitting on the bench in the 7th inning. And I think Frank Lucchesi was the manager. And he said, "Get a bat." Oh. So I got up and I got a base hit against Fergie Jenkins, my first at bat in the big leagues. And after that, it was all downhill.
Oh, for heaven's sake! He's like you, Mickey Morandini. So modest, so self-deprecating.
One other quick story. My first home run of the 4 that I had in my whole career. We're playing in the Astrodome. I hit a dying quail to right field. Jimmy Wynn came in and tried to shoestring it, missed it, fell down. I don't think the ball made it to the outfield turf, and it was an inside the park home run.
Oh, wow. They all count.
They all count.
That dying quail might have been my best bowl.
There's a lot of those dying quails in my life.
They all count as hits, though.
I'll tell you what, there are some, Mickey and Terry, who claim that your 76 and 77 teams were the best in Phillies history. They, of course, didn't get to the World Series, but they both won 101 games.
Yeah, well, we were so bad in the early 70s, and then to get to that level was a real accomplishment, because from then on, they just kept getting better and better. And Danny was a manager that, unlike today, the manager today, he plays everybody. Right. He uses everybody. He uses everybody all the time. He gets them in. Danny was a guy that if the 8 guys could go out, they played. And we had guys that played a lot of games. I think one year, I forget how many guys, 4 guys played 162 games. And it was Rose, Schmidt, Boa, and Cash.
All the
infielders. I had to back up that year for my paycheck because I didn't play much and I didn't hit much. But that's just one of those things. And I think a manager that uses his players like the one that does now, Rob, he's so good at making sure the guys get in and get some experience, because You can take as much batting practice as you want.
Well,
you can field as
oh,
many
absolutely.
ground balls as you want, but it's not like being in the game.
Right.
Do you have a book written about you yet?
A book?
Yes. Because your biographer, there's a potential biographer over here. And, oh my gosh.
Well, let me tell
He
you.
was telling me at the time you were hit, he was really concerned. He said that's the loudest.
He had to dig very hard if he find more than 2 or 3 pages to fill that
Yeah.
book. Trust me on that.
No. Well,
Hey,
listen.
And while we're sitting here talking, let's have a quick shout out to Mr. Greg Luzinski, who's kind of put this show together with Dan
Absolutely.
and was the host for a long time. He's going in tomorrow morning for a new hip, which hopefully will give him some relief because he's been hobbling for a while.
Yes, he is.
So be well, my friend, and heal quickly.
Greg, we love you. Terry Harmon, Mickey Morandini, and me. And you're such a big part of Phillies history. And what you've done for this radio show is just fantastic. And it's still known as the Bull Session, big fella, because of you. So good luck tomorrow, and I know you're going to come through it with flying colors. And we'll be right back with the second segment of tonight's Independence Blue Cross Bull Session after this.
Hey, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dive into our delectable seasonal seafood specials, including our Chickies and Pete's Sticky Lobster Tacos, succulent Brazilian tail meat in a spicy sauce, or try our Chicky and Pete's Shrimp Po' Boy, our signature fried shrimp, lettuce, roasted tomato, and a cherry pepper sauce, served on a fresh baguette. Plus, don't forget our Chicky and Pete's buy one, get one sweet and tasty snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday, only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Bringing in top talent is as easy as 1, 2, Key. SEPTA Key Advantage is a unique and valuable transit benefit program that gives your employees all-day, everyday access to the entire SEPTA system. That means your staff can get into the office, over to a meeting, and out for the night, seamlessly and affordably, all thanks to you. Learn how easy it is to customize a SEPTA Key Advantage program for your team at SEPTA.org/partner programs. That's SEPTA.org/partner programs.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Welcome back to Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown, New Jersey. And we're glad to have everybody, and it's nice to see all the people that have come out for the Bull Session tonight. And I know they're glad they did because we have Mickey Morandini and Terry Harmon, two of the most popular and classy second basemen in Phillies history. I don't know why I've always had an infinity for our second. Juan Samuel, another one of my favorites. Chase Utley, boy, you guys represent a very strong part of the Phillies tradition.
My favorite, Tony Taylor.
Number 8, and when he came back the second time, number 12. Great pinch hitter.
One fine gentleman.
Yes, I remember when he came over in a trade from the Cubs around 1960, and great. You know, it's sad to see as we get older. By the way, Chris Ermer, our producer, is here, and he has a Sharpie if anybody wants his autograph. Chris, we really appreciate the great job you hear that? Hear the applause out there? Yeah, we appreciate what you do. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, this show is broadcast every Monday during the baseball season April 1st through October 1st on WBCB Radio, 1490 AM, 107.3 FM. It's the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. So, Terry, another thing that we wanted to ask you about, you were a senior at Ohio University when the greatest player in Phillies history was a freshman in 1965. Did your paths ever cross at Ohio U?
I met Mike Schmidt a couple different times. Obviously, we met all the players at that time. And there's an interesting story that goes along with this. I never asked Mike to confirm this, but when Mike went to college, he was trying to switch hitter. And the coach there, a guy named Bob Wren, who was arguably one of the best coaches I've ever known or ever met, said to Mike after his first year, Mike, I think maybe you might want to can the switch hitting stuff and just stick with the right hand hitting. And he did, and of course the rest is history. He's one of the best baseball players in the history of the game. But to answer your question, we never really spoke much or had any real connections other than that I had met him and knew who he was and so on and so forth. And then we brought it up, of course, when we ended up being here together in the Phillies.
Terry Harmon, you played with Mike Schmidt against the Cincinnati Reds in the 1976 NLCS. Tell me about that Phillies team, and tell me about the Big Red Machine, to whom you lost. And, of course, after defeating the Phillies for the National League pennant, I believe they defeated the Yankees to win the World Series that year.
That might be right. Well, I mean, obviously they were a powerhouse. I mean, top to bottom. It's almost like the Phillies today. I mean, the Phillies today are just a wonderful team to watch, a fun team to watch. Got a lot of players that a lot of people are interested in. You know, I've come to the conclusion that I watch a ball game not because San Diego's in or LA's in or whoever's in. Because I want to see a player or two. Because the way these guys jump around. But back then they were loaded top to bottom. I mean, and there was no easy out in that lineup. They had pitching. I mean, they had it all. It's kind of like the Phillies team today. I mean, we were talking earlier about who would have thought one of the Phillies' problems going into this season would be they have too much good pitching and trying to get all these guys time, trying to make sure that everybody's happy. And who thought Suarez was going to start the way he did? I mean, he's looking like he's looking like Cy.
Yep.
If he keeps up, I mean, he's the epitome of how pitchers should pitch. Strike one, strike two, dally around a little bit, boom. He doesn't mess around. He just gets it and throws it. He throws strikes with 4 pitches. I mean, he's fun to watch.
Well, Terry, you just missed getting to a World Series with the Phillies in 76 and 77. Mickey Morandini, you did make it to the World Series with the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And this current team that Terry's talking about in such favorable terms is right up there with your 93 team. I think both 28 and 12 after 40 games.
Okay.
Phillies are now, I think, 28 and 13.
Right.
Of course, the Phils play the Mets tonight. But, Mick, I guess it's the dream of all young ball players, isn't it, to play in the World Series someday? And what was that like for you when you and your teammates made that leap?
I mean, I would hope that's their dream. That's why you play the game, right, is to get to a World Series and win a championship. So I would hope that's their dream. But it was just a heck of a run. We were supposed to come in last place. Every major publication had us coming in last place. We went out and got Inky and Izzy and Duncan and Danny Jackson, good veteran players that knew how to play the game. And just we got off to a really good start. And then all of a sudden the fans start coming out, and we were up to about 40, 45,000 in early May, mid-May, and they just kept coming out. And We stayed healthy that year. We got starting pitching. Every starter had at least 12 wins that year, which you don't see too often anymore. And we got along really well like this team does now. We played together as a team. We played hard. We played the right way. This team here this year had a lot more power than we did. They hit a lot more home runs than we did. But we did lead the league in scoring that year because we had 4 guys that drew over 100 walks. I think we had 3 or 4 guys that had at least 100 RBIs. We had the best leadoff hitter in the game, and Lenny.
Oh, what a year.
I mean, it was just a heck of a run.
Well, that was really something to be proud of. You know, something else that when I look at the two of you and I'm trying to think of similarities and in ways that you might be connected you don't think about, I think, Terry, in your era, you had a backup first baseman, Tommy Hutton, who owned Tom Seaver.
Exactly.
Not many people owned that. This guy owned Greg Maddox.
How about
Mickey
that?
Morandini could really hit.
It's funny how that works,
It
isn't
is.
it? It's just some guy as good as a pitcher as he was and got
guys
everybody
you see.
else out.
Yep.
Well, you got to tell us, how did it happen that you hit that
I
well?
saw him good. He was a guy that he was in or out. He didn't throw much down the middle of the plate, so I would look in a location for him, and for an average of 340, I guessed correctly. He threw me a lot of change-ups. The triple that I hit down the line in Game 6 was a change-up. So just one of those guys that, it's funny. You hit rotations good. Like I hit all Atlanta really good. And then there's other teams like Pirates and a couple other teams, Montreal. I didn't hit it well. It didn't matter who was on the mound. But certain teams you hit well and certain teams you didn't.
Do you think the hitters today, and I don't know the answer to this question, guess pitch or guess location most of the time?
I think they guess a lot more than we did. I do. I always tell young hitters, if you're going to guess early, because you still have some strikes left. But I see a lot of guys guessing with 2 strikes. You see guys taking fastballs right down the middle with 2 strikes. They're guessing.
Yes.
And you can't guess with 2 strikes. You have to, stay back and protect with 2 strikes. But if you're going to guess, I always tell them, guess early.
I think they do too, because I sit in front of that TV watching, and I'll look at fastball right down the middle, strike 3, and I go, what could you possibly have been looking for?
Right.
Or strike 1.
Right.
Now, they talk about getting the pitch count up and stuff. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all. I'd rather knock him out of the game than worry about getting his pitch count up.
I also think analytics has a lot to do with that.
Exactly.
If this says this pitcher throws 75% curveballs with 2 strikes, they're going to go up looking for curveballs. And I think Rhys Hoskins fell into that because he would always take a first pitch fastball right down the middle. And I think he thought that he was getting a breaking ball, and he always was behind in the count.
That's one thing that bothers me more than anything is this pitch count stuff, because the pitchers today don't pitch more than 5 innings. If they pitch 7, 8 innings, it's like it's world news the next day.
Mickey, you just mentioned that your 93 team had one of the top leadoff hitters you ever saw. What made Lenny Dykstra, especially that year, such a great leadoff hitter for the Phillies?
Confidence, for one. He was a very confident hitter. He went up to that plate knowing that he was going to have a good at-bat. And he was really good at looking for a specific pitch and not missing it. He's kind of like Barry Bonds, like a lesser version of Barry Bonds, because Barry didn't miss good pitches. And Lenny didn't that year. He looked for a certain, I remember when a bat lead off the game, I'm batting second. He goes, I'm going to work this count to 3-2, and I'm going to take this guy deep. And he did that exactly. He worked the count. He knew the strike zone really well. He could hit a fastball. And, he had some speed, so he could do some things on the bases, too.
Who was the leadoff hitter in the mid-'70s?
Probably Boa.
Dave Cash lead off at all?
Not much.
No.
Cash hit second a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it was probably Boa.
Wait, Larry would be upset with me if it was him and I didn't remember
Well,
that.
he made himself a really good hitter.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
the first couple years, they knocked the bat out of his hands. But after that, he learned.
Well, you talk about somebody with baseball. Ed Wade former Phillies general manager, told me he's the smartest baseball guy he's ever been around.
Really?
Larry Boa.
Wow.
And Larry Boa will be our guest on the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session June the 3rd at Chickies and Pete's at 15th and Packer.
Well, he hangs with another baseball guy. And I imagine between the two of them, Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie
Yeah.
and each
A lot of
other.
knowledge there.
He got a lot of knowledge. A lot of stories.
Yes.
Yeah, Charlie Manuel, we think, he's been invited for June 17th. And I was talking to Charlie on Friday, and he's going to check his schedule to make sure. And, you know, he that guy's in demand.
It's so fun. It's so fun to be in their presence and listen to them. You know, they'll go
Larry
back.
too.
They'll go back. Remember in 1970 that pitch on the third time around?
Oh, I know.
I'm going, what? I can't remember what happened last week. Come on, I can't remember that stuff. But they can remember everything. The home run they hit, the double off the wall, the ball they got by the catcher. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and they're just fun to listen to.
Yep.
Well, we've come to the midway point of tonight's Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. And we'll be back with the second half of the show in just a moment.
It's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. Here's a winner, fall football, and Chickies and Pete's mouth-watering snow crab legs. For a limited time, buy one and get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat dressed in our special blend of seasonings and spices. Pair it with an ice-cold draft beer or one of our signature cocktails. Buy one and get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply. Chickies and Pete's.
I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly.
I take SEPTA so I never miss tip-off.
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
I don't have a car. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I take the Broad Street line to all the games.
I ride the bus.
I ride the train and the subway. I set my lineup when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, SEPTA is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Hi, Paul Muller from Team Toyota of Langhorne. If you've been waiting to buy your next pre-owned vehicle due to surging used car prices, then we have some great news for you. With over 45 used cars under $20,000, we have something for every budget. Plus, with our MVP pricing guarantee, warranty forever, and free maintenance for 1 year, you can rest assured that you're getting a reliable used car at a great price. Visit us in Langhorne on Route 1 or shop online at teamlanghorne.com.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're up here in central New Jersey, Bordentown, near the confluence of Route 206 and Route 130. And another one of the great Chickies and Pete's. Next week will be a Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Mickey and I will, with former Phillies top draft pick Mike Costanzo. And we're looking forward to having Mike and his family with us that night. And speaking of families, we're grateful to have Kay Harmon here, Terry's wife, my wife Kathy, Steve, and Jean Decky. And Steve, thank you for prepping me today on Terry Harmon, you know, and I appreciate your reflections on your 76 post. You scored a run in that NLCS, you know.
That's the only time I got in that game.
Well, you were.
I was there.
You know, Terry, you weren't there in 77. Were you eligible in 77, or they just, you know, Danny Ozark was still manager
Yeah.
then. So maybe he's just playing this.
I was there, I think.
But, I mean, I don't know if you
I
were
didn't get
in the
in.
game
I didn't know. I
in
did
the 77
definitely. I did not get
LCS.
in the game.
Yeah.
No. That was the Danny Ozark used the 8 that could go out there.
Well,
That's just the way he did it, and it worked for him for the most part.
Well, don't think I'm being critical, because
No, no.
anybody in this room, including me, would give their right arm to say they played Major League
Don't you think
Baseball.
most managers back then played?
Yes.
I mean,
Yep. I think that's right. It's a different
different
game
game
today.
now, yeah.
And thank goodness the Phillies are built, I think, for the long haul, because they got 3 or 4 guys that can play anywhere, do anything, and you're not going to hardly miss a beat from the guy that was originally there.
Right.
I mean, I love Stott. I think Stott's going to be a super ball player eventually. I mean, I think he's got a chance to be in the MVP, big time hitter, and everything else.
And you would have a greater appreciation for that, because although Terry, you spent most of your time in the big leagues as a second baseman, you played a lot of shortstop, third base, and even some first.
I played mostly short and second, a little third, and just a couple games at first. But today, these guys play the outfield. They play anywhere, and I think it's amazing. And quite honestly, so far, the team hasn't really missed too much of a beat.
No.
And then Harper goes for his wife's having a baby, so he's out for a few days. They call it this Cody Clements. He hits a couple home runs.
That's it.
I mean, they reach down and pull these things from the minor league. I think they're set up for the long haul, and I think if they don't win it this year, I'm going to be very surprised.
Yeah.
You know, Cody's father could pitch a little bit.
He was
Mick.
all right, yeah. He only won 7 Cy Youngs, that's it. And an MVP. Yeah,
And
he was good. I think he comes to some of the games there. I think
Yeah.
when Cody plays, I think he comes to some of the games. That's nice to see.
Yes. And you
A proud father.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your boys.
Well, my youngest right now is on a plane heading to Europe. He's going to do a 21-day tour of Europe, 6 countries.
Wow.
And he starts med school when he comes back. So he wanted to get away, do something that he could do.
Med school?
It's amazing, though, that these young kids do
Congratulations.
nowadays. I would have never thought about doing anything like
No.
that. And he planned the whole trip, 21 days, all by himself. He did all the planes, all the trains, all the cities, all the excursions, did it all by himself. He's paying for it by himself.
Wow. That's even better.
It is, well, I paid for a few of the plane flights.
There you go.
But it's amazing. And then my other 2 kids, one lives in Indianapolis, one lives in Chicago. They're doing very well. They were just home for Mother's Day, so it was a great week last week.
Oh, wonderful. What med school?
He's going to Tufts University in downtown Boston.
Oh, wow.
Actually one of the probably top 10 med schools in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that's something.
And
That's
he did not
amazing.
get his brains from me. I know that.
That's amazing. That's great.
Well, again, you being as gracious as always, and you're the same way, Terry.
We had a surprise this year. I have 2 grandchildren that live in New York, 14 and 11, 2 girls, and they came to us, the parents, and said we're going to go to Spain for a year.
Oh, wow.
We're going to do the Spain deal for a year.
Take the kids with him?
Oh, yeah. And so they've been in Spain. They're coming back in August for 3 weeks. And I'm a little afraid they might decide to stay another year, but I hope not.
Right.
But we've been to Spain a couple times to see them. But to your point earlier, it's a different world for kids today.
it is.
They don't think of anything about getting on a plane or a bus or a train and going anywhere in the world.
Nope.
At the drop of a hat.
Jeez,
It's amazing. And I think it's great. It's not great that my 2 grandchildren are in Spain, but and they seem to be enjoying it, and it's an experience of a lifetime, I'm sure. And they seem to like it. So if they stay another year, that won't be the worst thing that can happen. But Kay may not agree with that.
Terry, best teammates that you played with, best opponents that you played against?
Best teammates. Well, Greg Lazinski and I have been friends for a long, long time. I roomed with Gene Garber. First year in baseball, I roomed with Jim Bunning. That was quite an experience. He came up to me in spring training. He said, "Who you rooming with?" I don't know if I'm making the team or not.
Right.
He said, "Well, if you make the team, you want to room with me?" I said, "Done." Yeah, perfect. So I'll tell you a funny story. He took me to a bunch of different restaurants and stuff that I would have never gone to in a million years, but that was Jim Bunny. We went on a road trip one time, and we get to the room, and of course your bags are up in the room and all that stuff. And we get up there, and he opens his bag. There's nothing in it but his job kit. I said, "Jim, where's your clothes?" Because back then you had to wear sport coats and so on and so forth. And he said, "Terry," he said, "once a year, every year, I got a tailor here in Los Angeles. I go get 2 new suits, a couple new sport coats, a couple new pair of pants." That was what he did. I said, "Holy smokes, that's how the other half lives, brother."
He didn't buy you any suits?
I didn't get a pair of shorts. I don't know what happened.
Jim Bunning, who of course is in the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and who we just passed Father's Day 1964, a perfect game he pitched against the New York Mets, tonight's Phillies opponent, at Shea Stadium, New York.
I don't know if you knew it or not, but he had a huge family. I think he had maybe 10 or 12 kids, 2 sets of twins. Well, he lived down in Kentucky, right outside of Cincinnati. And we went to his house for dinner one time, and they had this table, this huge table. Everybody's sitting around the table, all these kids, everybody. And in the middle of the table, they had another table where they put all the food, and rather than pass the food, they just turned the table in the middle. And you grabbed your. It was like a lazy Susan kind of thing, because otherwise you'd be passing food all the time. Everybody would want something different, and I thought that was pretty clever. Jim was Jim was a very sharp guy, obviously, and did a lot of things with his life, and he was. It was for me to room with him the first year was a really good experience, and it was good for me.
United States Senator from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And
smart man. Lovely wife, a nice family.
Mickey, let me ask you the same question. Best teammates you played with, best opponents you played against?
Best teammate was Darren Dalton, for sure. Taught me a lot about the game, taught me a lot about playing baseball in Philadelphia. Best player I ever played against was Barry Bonds, hands down. Nobody even close. He was special.
Ironically, who started your unassisted triple play, did he not?
He did not start it. He ended it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He was the one I tagged. Yeah.
Take us through that. Take us through an unassisted triple play.
Yeah, runners at first and second, no outs, obviously, and Jeff King's at the plate, Schilling's on the mound. And normally you really don't send runners with no outs. I don't think you do that. But Jim Leland sent the runners on a 3-2 pitch, and Jeff King hit a line drive up the middle. I dove, caught it. I was probably 3 or 4 steps from second, tramped on second, and started to look to throw to first. And Barry Bonds is standing right there, so I just tagged him. So probably lasted all of 4 seconds, I bet, the whole play. But like Terry said, I didn't know the importance of it. When I went into the clubhouse after the game, all the reporters are coming up to me, and I'm like, I just struck out 3 times and grounded out. I was 0 for 4. What are you coming up to me for? And they told me I was the first player to do it in the regular season, and I was the 9th player to ever do it.
Of course, also in Pittsburgh, that's where your teammate, Mike Schmidt, hit his 500th home run.
He's the best athlete I ever saw. I mean, Mike's one of those guys, he can do anything. You want to play ping pong, he'll kill you in ping pong. You want to shoot darts, he'll kill you. Play golf, play tennis. He's just the best athlete that I've ever known, by far.
When you think of the pantheon of Philadelphia sports heroes during the 2022 World Series, Phillies promotion set up a first pitch one night, which I introduced. Bernie Perrant from the Stanley Cup champion Philadelphia Flyers, Brandon Graham from the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, Dr. J. Julius Irving from the Philadelphia 76ers, and from the Philadelphia Phillies, and the 1980 World Series champions, Mike Schmidt.
You've been lucky to be around a lot of very fine people.
I have been.
Wonderful athletes.
What a joy. And we're having a great time tonight here at Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown, New Jersey. Don't forget, coming up shortly, the Phillies and the Mets over at Citi Field. Do they still call it Citi Field, Mark?
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Okay. Well, listen, we've got another quarter of the show still to go, don't we, Chris Hermer? And then, so if they're getting lined up to get autographs from Mickey Morandini and Terry Harmon. So we're going to take a break. You can get your autographs, and then we'll be right back with the final segment of tonight's Independence Blue Cross Bull Session.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Relax and enjoy a cocktail from our seasonal cocktail menu. Try one of our delicious, perfectly blended options like strawberry lemonade. How about a raspberry sangria, blend of Pinot Grigio, raspberry liqueur, and bubbly lemon lime soda? Or maybe a Hendrick's Gimlet or a Patron Tropical Mojito is more your style. Enjoy one of these or many others from our Chicky and Pete's sensational seasonal cocktail selection. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Hi, Paul Muller from Team Toyota of Langhorne. If you've been waiting to buy your next pre-owned vehicle due to surging used car prices, then we have some great news for you. With over 45 used cars under $20,000, we have something for every budget. Plus, with our MVP pricing guarantee, warranty forever, and free maintenance for 1 year, you can rest assured that you're getting a reliable used car at a great price. Visit us in Langhorne on Route 1 or shop online at teamlanghorne.com.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Mickey Morandini.
Joining Mickey and me tonight at Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown, New Jersey, the great Terry Harmon, number 17.
There was never a grade attached to that, trust me.
Let me ask you about another. He's from Toledo, Ohio.
Don't hold that against me.
Did they call you the Rocket at one time? No, I think it was the name of the university, wasn't it? Their nickname at one time?
Yeah, Toledo Rockets, yeah.
Did you know Steve Mix out there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I knew Steve real well.
Tell me about former Sixer
great,
yes, long-time broadcaster.
Lefty, I believe.
We kind of reconnoitered right here in Philly.
Reconnoitered?
Reconnoitered, brother. we noitered there, and then we read here.
Now, you know, they may black that out on
He obviously was with the Sixers, and when we got here, and Kay went to Toledo University, so she kind of followed his career, and I followed his career, and we got together quite often until he retired and went back to Toledo. And his brother, they got into I think a huge rec center situation where they had basketball camps and all kinds of things going on in Toledo. So yeah, he knew him pretty well actually.
His daughter Stephanie was a terrific women's basketball player at Drexel University.
Interesting.
And but he was another class act to me. He had some terrifically talented teammates.
He would always say, He said, I can't jump, I can't run, but I can shoot, and I'll be in better shape than anybody I ever play against. And that was the way he said, I just run people to death.
Might he be Toledo men's basketball's all-time leading scorer? Or he's got to be way up there if he's not.
I would think he'd be up there, but I doubt if he's number one.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some pretty good people go through there.
Yeah. How far is Toledo from Ohio U?
A couple hours. Ohio U is about 45 minutes south of Columbus. Ohio State.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, talking about the Big Ten, Indiana University right here, Bloomington. Was Indiana, Mickey, a baseball power at that time?
No.
Of course, Kyle Schwarber went there,
Yeah,
did
Kyle
he not?
went there. No, it was not a powerhouse. It's becoming a much better school. They've been in the World Series the last 3 or 4 years. Built a beautiful turf stadium, but we were not. We were always kind of in the middle of the pack. But Big Ten baseball has gotten a lot better. Joe Girardi went to Northwestern, so there's been a lot of big names come out of the Big Ten. Barry Larkin went to Michigan. There's been a lot of big names, but Big Ten baseball is getting better.
I've got of course, Indiana basketball has always been huge.
Right.
And I've done a little basketball work in my life with the Big Five and Drexel and radio and TV. And the city of Philadelphia named me the official host for Indiana University in 1976 when Indiana men's basketball was undefeated. So I went out to Atlantic Aviation, where the private planes land, and to meet the Indiana University basketball team and Bobby Knight, who was the first person off the plane. I had a little Liberty Bell to give him. I walked over to shake his hand. I said, Bob, Dan Baker, the city of Philadelphia, has asked me to be your host while Indiana's in Philadelphia for the Final Four.
Wow.
He said, Dan, I know why you're here. I appreciate it. I don't need you. I don't want you. And I'll see you later.
No. Doesn't sound like him, does it?
No, that couldn't be him.
And it was that year at the Cherry Hill Inn in New Jersey that he threw a writer into the trash can.
Oh, my God.
But he accomplished it was with Bobby. He did a lot of great things, and he did some things that were far from it.
He was obviously a very good coach.
Yes, he was.
Yes,
and he developed young men.
And his students graduated.
Some people, I don't think, are afraid to speak up. They don't want to correct younger ones. I think there's a popularity contest, and but sometimes
you got to be real careful who you correct these days. You're allowed to get shot. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, what do you think now, Chris Ermer, our producer? How much time do we have left? 5 minutes. I want to get into again the 2024 Phillies.
Sure.
Here we are, off to one of the best. Your team, Mickey, was off to one of the best starts in Phillies history, the 93 Phillies, and they went wall to wall in first place. The 1976 Phillies were the only team to have a better start than the 1993 Phillies,
really?
Terry Harmon,
How about that?
or the 2024 Phillies. Did you get a sense? Now, at that time, the Phillies had not been in the postseason for 26 years, since 1950. Did you get a sense that you guys had a chance to get to the postseason and maybe win the whole thing?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I ever thought about winning the whole thing, but I certainly thought we had a chance to get there. And you know, we had a bunch of scrappers, boy, and it all came together, and we got close. We got very, very close. But I think this team right here, the Phillies of 24, are built for the long haul. I mean, they've got a lot of arms. They've got people that can fill in. Trey Turner's going to get a little rest here. He'll come back probably really strong because he was on fire
Yeah,
to
he was
start
playing
with.
well.
So I think they're built to. If they don't win it, I'm going to be surprised.
Mickey, amazingly, the 1992 Phillies finished in last place in the NL East.
I don't know if that was amazingly, but
well, no. The amazing part, I didn't finish my thought, was that team was the one that went post to post in '93.
Right.
Could you see that coming? Did you feel it coming?
Well, I didn't because we had a whole new team in '93. Really, like I said, we brought in 5 or 6 veteran players, and Dutch and Lenny were healthy, and that type of thing. So it was a completely different team. Did I see us going to the World
God
Series
bless you.
in spring training? No, I didn't. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. But I did think after 30, 40 ball games that we were a very good team and had a chance to make the playoffs for sure.
Well, that was an exciting. My wife Kathy and I were in Toronto when Joe Carter hit that walk-off.
Yeah, I was there too.
And so was Mitch. And, yeah,
hate those times.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what an exciting. How about Mickey? Veterans Stadium.
I love the
after the Phillies beat the Braves.
Oh, it was electric.
Dave Montgomery, Terry, and Bill Giles asked me to go down to the field and introduce the Phillies individually as they emerged from the dugout after their celebration. And
what a time!
I've been to the playoff games the last 2 years, and there's probably at the bank 43,000 or something like that. We had close to 60,000, I believe.
Yes.
And I know how loud it was the last 2 years. I'm still not so sure that Vet was louder.
Well, you know what? People said that to me. Hey, this is the loudest I've ever. And hey, I'm proud to maybe play a small part in it.
Oh, sure, big part.
Yeah, big part.
But
and you're enclosed in the Vet. It's enclosed.
Yeah, I said.
You got 17,000 more fans.
76, 77, 77. Yeah, Bert Hooton, was. What did he walk about 5 in a row, 4 with the bases loaded or something like that, and it was talk about loud, when the Phillies won the World Series at Citizens Bank Park in '08 at Veterans Stadium in '80, and then you had dogs, you had horses, holy mackerel!
Yep.
It was a party.
It was.
Man, oh man, as it should have been.
Yes, exactly.
Because as Tug McGraw used to say, it took 96 years or something for the Phils to win their first. Well, the World Series didn't start till 1901. The Phillies started in 1883. But boy, it was great. And to those of us who lived through 6, I know Art Mahaffey's watching and listening. Oh, he's a good buddy of yours.
Old Art. Yep.
I tell you, there's a guy that could pitch. Still has the record for 17 strikeouts in a 9-inning game for all Phillies pitchers.
He always says when I see him, he says, they couldn't pay me enough to pitch today, man. For what I did, if I could keep the same stats I had then, they couldn't pay me enough.
What is your advice, Mickey Morandini, to your boys for success in baseball, in sports, in life? Obviously, the young son who's going to Tufts for his medical degree, my goodness.
My motto was don't ever let anybody outwork me. I knew people wanted my job when I made it to the big leagues. You have the whole minor league system. They're coming after your job. I just didn't want anybody to outwork me. And I feel that nobody did. And that would be my advice to anybody out there.
Okay, well, hey, listen. See how fast it goes when you're having a great time.
Man.
Don't forget, folks, next week, we're at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Pennsylvania. Mickey Morandini and I will be co-hosting the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session, and former Phillies #1 pick Mike Costanzo would be our guest. Thank